The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by the Quicksilver Card from Capital One. Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back every purchase, everywhere, and in part by Hyundai.
National semifinal number 1, the South Carolina Gamecocks. With every expectation to be in Dallas, the season began in November. This is where they intended to be. Stanford is in their 13th Final Four, but they had to gel over the last 4 months in order to arrive on this floor. Time now for the Capital One Meet the Players. Let's meet this Cardinal.
Bree Roberson, Fullerton, California, and I was born on my mom's birthday.
Carly Samuelson, Huntington Beach, California, and I'm the team racquetball champion.
Brittany McPhee from Normandy Park, Washington, and I have a twin sister.
I can make your hands clap. Said I can make your hands clap.
Kaylee Johnson, I'm from Casper, Wyoming, and my favorite color is sparkles.
Erica McCall, I'm from Bakersfield, California, and I can solve a Rubik's Cube.
You don't even know. I can make your hands clap. Said I can make your hands clap.
So Stanford has the luxury of one of the game's great tacticians in Tara Vanderveer, and their best chance to win is to be able to get back and set their defense. So how do you do that? You've got to make South Carolina take it out of the net. So the knockdown shooters that they have at their disposal, Brittany McPhee and Carly Samuelson, who combined for 10 of the 12 threes in the upset of Notre Dame, they better be able to make shots tonight.
All right, time for a look at South Carolina. The Gamecocks are Capital One Meet the Players.
Taisha Harris, Noblesville, Indiana. I have 3 sisters, and we all start with T's.
Kayla Davis, Swanee, Georgia. I can solve 3 different Rubik's Cubes.
Asia Wilson, Hopkins, South Carolina, and I love pearls.
I can make your hands clap. Said I can make your hands clap.
Bianca Cuevas, Bronx, New York. I know every subway system in New York City.
Alicia Gray, Sandersville, Georgia. My favorite sport is softball.
I can make your hands clap. Said I can make your hands clap.
So Ty Harris is a freshman point guard. Think about that in this environment and all of the challenges that it brings. Started the year coming off the bench, now has evolved into a team leader. Inexperience and lack of an aggressive mindset can be anchors on a stage like this. Can the freshman lead this group, be a leader, and bring them to the promised land?
I'll tell you about a stage like this. This is a great night to bring your autograph book inside the arena. Russell Wilson is here, not alone as far as big name, heavyweight celebrities all throughout the American Airlines Center. Well, this guy could play a little bit. Antonio Davis. He's Kayla Davis's dad, of course, long NBA career. And the great Dr. Condoleezza Rice, the 66th United States Secretary of State. And Robin Roberts, our all-time favorite, the Hall of Famer, in the house as well. And hoping for a dandy here in game number 1, Stanford against South Carolina in our first national semifinal. South Carolina 31-4, the Cardinal 32-5. We are underway as Asia Wilson wins the opening tip here in the first one. Stanford, by the way, 5-0 all-time against South Carolina.
Typically what you see Tara Vanderveer do is mix up her defenses. She's not going to play certain players and try to get Asia Wilson to play in a crowd. Let's see if they can pull that off.
Gray launching the first one, but off target there. A battle for the rebound. And it'll be Stanford ball, the number 2 seed out of the Lexington Regional. And Tara Vanderveer, their Hall of Famer, 38th year. She loves the chemistry of this team. Samuelson up high on the wing. 49% beyond the three-point line, just shooting the lights out in a spectacular career, and that will be dropped in by McCall.
That's her preference. She's a face-up post. You can play her back to the basket, Kara, but her ability to knock down that 15-foot face-up jump shot so valuable.
And I don't know that I've seen a Stanford defender within 5 feet of Ty Harris, the freshman point guard. I mean, she is out there operating on her own. Look how far back Kaylee Johnson is at the elbow.
Harris wears number 52, only scores about 6 points a game, and here's her first one, and that's going to be all the way down from 3.
Well, so Tara calls that her 54 defense, right, where it's 5-on-4 because, as Kara noted, and we talked about, they're going to slough off to somebody because they've got to make up for other things in other areas. So Ty Harris, who I think, Kara, has looked so confident shooting the basketball in the NCAA tournament.
Corner jumper won't drop there by Roberson. And now the Gamecocks in transition. Of course, the South Carolina men facing Gonzaga in the national semifinals on the men's side. And torn away by McCall, who gets 9 rebounds a game. She had the block shot that sealed the deal at the end of the Notre Dame win in the regional final. In the closing seconds, a gigantic play. Will be traffic. That'll be a nice bounce and up and in. Davis was actually looking for a foul, too.
So one of the things we're going to see from South Carolina is looking to push. Push early, push often. Stanford can't get set up in that defense where they're scheming against certain players if you run the floor and get early looks.
Johnson trying to wriggle free and misfiring close. Gray with the rebound.
That's a really good weak side checkout by Alicia Gray, who, because of the absence of Coates, has had to switch to the power forward, and she gets a nice little dump down pass there. But there are challenges for Alicia Gray when she's matched up against a big, and she has battled and been terrific.
3-time SEC Player of the Year at 6'5". So much of what they do on the South Carolina side will run through her. That's a pretty hook there by McCall.
McCall doesn't look overwhelmed at all on the offensive end. A couple of Stanford players just a little bit unsure of themselves to start. But McCall, the senior, giving them a great presence on the floor.
And she's had a terrific tournament.
Yeah, she has. She rushed that one layup, and I wondered, was it the presence of Asia Wilson, the great shot blocker, who made her push it a little bit faster than she wanted?
Wilson on the high post. It's Harris open again. Can't make it 2 for 2. Cuevas Moore yanking down the rebound. And a new shot clock here for the Gamecocks. Letting fly Davis, who has been so hot in this tournament. And it's been fascinating to watch how different the Gamecocks look without Coates.
Oh, no question about it. They have become a team that went strictly high-low, Dave, to a team that goes 4 out, 1 in. Their spacing has been far better. Their ability to spread the floor, attack gaps, give Asia Wilson some room to operate. They're a drastically different-looking team.
Roberson contact there. That's going to be an offensive foul, so no basket for the Cardinal.
A lot of attention being paid to Asia Wilson. Great presence here, understanding that. Timely little cut there by Alicia Gray in front of the weak side defense and has the opportunity to get a layup. Asia Wilson has to be assertive and aggressive, but she also has to be patient and understanding where are the extra defenders coming from to get her teammates some quality looks.
She says it's not necessarily a strong suit of hers.
Yeah.
Patience. It's been an acquired taste.
Gray handing off for Davis. Gray is wearing 6 stitches over right eye after collision with a teammate here in Dallas in practice. Cuevas Moore. She can hit the 3. Wilson with the shot clock winding down, and it rolls off the iron. These are brand new rims they have in here, too, so they may be on the tight side.
Well, and Gino Auriemma was also complaining that the floor is new every year, and he feels like it's so sticky that it causes players to stop short.
McCall rolling through again that hook shot. She's averaging 19 points a game in the NCAA tournament. She's been the go-to for Stanford. Now the building's sold out tonight here in Dallas. And many more celebrities on hand. We'll be giving you shots of them throughout the night in our second semifinal, as the UConn Huskies try to make it 112 straight wins. Cuevas Moore is short. The three-pointer tipped out of play, and it'll stay on this end. Time to bring in the great Holly Roll.
Well, I don't know how great, but I will say the great lineup for South Carolina is their small lineup right now. Dawn Staley said they had an opportunity to start the evolution of it when Asia Wilson was hurt for a stretch and missed 2 games early in January. She said it didn't look very good when we rolled it out there, but they've kept working on it. So now it was ready when they actually needed it due to injury. She said we never gave up on it, and the evolution's been nice.
It's really been incredible. Their scoring, their ability to make great use of 2 dynamic wings and Kayla Davis and Alicia Gray. And pretty good start for South Carolina. Up 5 as we're about midway through this first.
South Carolina head coach Don Staley has appeared as a player 3 times in the Final Four. 1990 against Stanford and Tara Vanderveer, losing 75-66. National championship against Tennessee in 91. She scored 28, but they lost in overtime. 1992 national semifinal against Stanford again. She had 19, but a miss at the buzzer, 66-65, and their hearts were broken in that one. But one of the handful of great players in the history of women's college basketball.
Yeah, I love watching that because I grew up as a kid in Virginia watching those teams go to 3 Final Fours. Dawn Staley was my favorite player. Tammy Reese, the Birds twins, Tanya Cardozo, who's now the coach at Temple. I mean, those were some really great teams.
91, she wins the most outstanding player despite a losing effort. Such a rarity.
There was some Iverson in that game. Oh, just a little bit. Under 5 minutes to go here in the first. South Carolina with a good start. McCall denied in a lane. Samuelson so far has been chilly. Sneezik on the wing. She's an assist factory, but makes 2 there.
Well, she's got to be opportunistic when given looks like that. And a completely different look than Bree at the point guard position, but I like that off the pick and roll, a lane opens and she attacks it.
Marta Sneezik is one of 9 children, 6 brothers. She knows how to share the basketball. Shot clock down to 11. Davis on that side, can't knock that one down, and we'll see if she really gets rolling the way she has so far in this tournament. McCall, nice look underneath, but Wilson denies her. Wilson, a 3-time SEC Player of the Year. Also one of the great shot blockers in the country throughout her career.
So look at the black jerseys. Very rarely do you see them coming out beyond the 3-point line. They are sagging deep.
Wilson with a miss in close. Sneezik to push the tempo now. Right past Gray, who slaps it away and commits the foul.
Oh, that was a great slice in transition. One of the things that's really hard to guard full speed is when you cross over in the middle of the floor and kind of turn that defender around. Watch Sneezik here, live speed. Actually, she did that just a beat before then. And you see Alicia Gray get her with the body there. A lot of ball up top, but I thought she tagged her a little bit below with the body.
That felt like it was a message about the next possible drive.
Nothing gonna be easy, right?
Nicole Murray and Felicia Grinter and Joe Vasili are officials for our first national semifinal. And so Stanford creeps back to within 1 here in the first quarter. Well, the Gamecocks surviving the loss of a terrific player, a 4-time All-SEC big, to get to this second Final Four in 3 years. A whistle underneath. And a foul against the Cardinal here with 3:22 to go in the quarter. That'll go on Smith. Alana Smith, the sophomore from Melbourne, Australia. Here's Coates now, injuring that ankle during the SEC tournament semi. Talking about 13 points and 11 rebounds just gone right before the NCAA tournament.
Well, it's not only the production, Dave, it's the fact that you're having to change stylistically how you're playing, not just on the offensive end, on the defensive end. Here's where I think they miss Coates. It's the depth in the front line. Asia Wilson can ill afford to get into foul trouble now, where she had maybe a little bit of gray area there where she could pick up a couple and they could still keep their head above water.
That was with a bounce from McCall.
That was what Andy Landers was talking about, the key for South Carolina. They can afford foul trouble at other positions, but certainly not with Asia Wilson.
And Stanford crashing the glass here. Back up top for Erica McCall, the senior from Bakersfield, California. And she was the most outstanding player in the Pac-12 tournament. Loose on the baseline. Smith gets it up and in.
What terrific concentration. That looked like it was knocked out of her hands briefly, or at least bobbled it a bit as she tried to corral it.
She's the first international recruit in Stanford program history. Pliny back out high for Cuevas Moore. There could be a real spark plug. Out of the Bronx, New York, Gray launches. Got it! All net with the triple.
So threes are going to be really important for South Carolina, particularly in the half court. So pushing the basketball, trying to get chances in transition, just like Cuevas does there, forcing the foul and the turnover. And then do they have enough players that can get free looks at the basket from beyond the arc? Gray with the nice hit there.
You know, one of the things that's interesting for me is you see a little backfill by Gray. This is a similar defense that South Carolina faced earlier in the year against Missouri. And one of the things I think Dawn and her staff was curious about, how would they react to the scout defense that Stanford, they knew. I asked Dawn yesterday, who are they going to come off of? She said they're probably not going to guard Bianca. They're probably not going to guard Ty. And we've got to be game plan disciplined on the offensive end to get the shots we want, not the shots Stanford wants us taking.
Ray Westmore not afraid to get that three-pointer in the air. Back for Kleine. Shot clock at 5. Herbert Harrigan, yes, nice, smooth touch there. She's a freshman at 6'2". On the run, McCall, and she'll lay it in. They burn him on the other end. The Cardinals very quick to attack.
Well, we talk about rim running. How about the sprint by Erica McCall, something Tara told us yesterday. We really think we can beat them up the floor in transition with McCall.
Well, I think Sneezik's come in and totally changed the pace of the game for Stanford offensively, whether it's been the dribble or the pass ahead.
Wilson gives it up on a baseline. Herbert Harrigan back out. That's going to be a traveling violation. So the Gamecocks give it away. That's their first turnover.
They will make you think. They will make you think on the offensive end. And what you do not want that to do is disrupt your flow offensively.
Stanford holding off Notre Dame to win a thriller in the Lexington Regional Finals, 76-75 to get to their 13th Final Four. They have become the cardiac Cardinal with all these come-from-behind victories. Off the fake, Smith. On the run, can't get that one to go. Stanford rallied from 16 down in the second half to beat Notre Dame. Just stunning the Irish. It's not the first time they've done that this season. They went on the road against number 7 Washington, got down 18 and recovered to win. Here's Gray. Rebound knocked away by Kleine. Very athletic play in the corner.
I love the way South Carolina is just getting those free runs into the offensive glass and creating themselves some extra opportunities. When you're not man-to-man or you have other responsibilities than the player you're guarding, sometimes you miss box outs and you miss the opportunity to put a body on somebody. They got to do that.
Final seconds of the first quarter, and Cuevas Moore slowing it down for one final play. She can be jet quick. Gray again. An air ball from 3, and that's how the first quarter comes to an end. Almost 1.4 seconds. Still showing on the clock with South Carolina up by 2. And an attempt here from way downtown for the Cardinal. Here's the heave. And off the side of the backboard by Sneezik.
So it's been 3 weeks of dancing for players across the country. March Madness. Move those shoulders. Dreams are on the line. A national championship is to be decided by Sunday. We're rolling in Dallas.
Welcome back here with Stanford coach Tara Vanderveer. And Tara, you inserted Marta Sneezek midway through that first quarter. How did that change the complexion of your game plan?
She's a point guard with, heady point guard, and she made some really nice passes. A great pass to Bird. Holly, we've got to do a better job rebounding. They're crashing the glass on us. We've got to take care of the ball. Can't let that pressure by number 1 bother us. And we need Bird to attack the basket. So I think we kind of, the first quarter, a little jittery, but we can play better.
Thank you.
All right.
Tara became the 3rd Division I coach in history to win 1,000 games. And she's been just as magical in the NCAA tournament with 82 victories behind only Gino and Pat. That's amazing.
13th Final Four. She's got 1,012 wins up against 230 losses. Tara is one of the great game plan strategists in women's college basketball. And just a heck of a lot more fun as the years have gone on. You just saw her dancing after the Elite 8 win over Notre Dame. I said, is that Tara dancing? Come on, Dave O'Brien. Do you think she would have been dancing 10 years ago?
I'm amazed at the transformation in so many ways. And she's delightful. She can just flat coach. A foul here with 9:42 to go here in the second quarter. 38 years at the helm, a 4-time National Coach of the Year. Kleine with the foul.
So there was a lot of talk in the last round that Tara had taken off the gray suit and had donned actually an open cardigan. I mean, our reporter, Michelle Smith, who writes for ESPNW and ESPN.com, she's like, Tara's in a sweater. But I say, hey, Tara, you got to go back to the suit, baby. That's 1,000 wins in that gray suit.
It's a 1,000-win suit on a baseline. Tough angle as McPhee had it knocked out of play. She exploded for 27 against Notre Dame in the regional final, so she could make a huge difference here tonight.
Well, it was so impactful in that third quarter where Stanford really helped stem the tide. When McPhee hits outside shots, that totally changes the complexion of this Stanford offense.
Snezik will set up a play here with a shot clock of factors, suddenly down to 3. Great give to McCall for the quick shot.
How about the understanding of time right there by Marta Snezik? We called her name a couple times. She is running this offense, I mean, with just great deal of intelligence right now.
She teamed with Stanford's other primary ball handler, Bree Roberson, for 11 assists, 0 turnovers in the regional final.
I think it's important, something you said in the first quarter about the chemistry. There doesn't seem to be any rivalry. There is competitive spirit, but you love the support and the sort of a nuanced love you get from the Stanford Cardinal. And this is a team that's all in for each other.
Here's Smith from way downtown. But, Holly, we were all in the room talking with the Cardinal the other day, and I think there were 7 of the players in the room, and that's what they focused on, right? That chemistry is off the charts.
Well, they all said it's the best team we've ever been on. I love them all so much. They had just gotten off a road trip where they had planned to go back home to Stanford in between the first and second rounds and the regional finals. Well, their charter plane was missing a part, so they had to go straight on an 11-day road trip. What did they do as soon as they got back home to Stanford after 11 days on the road together, all these women? Hey, where are we going to dinner tonight? They can't stand to be apart. The reason they're winning is they just don't want this to end. They want every moment to remain together on this court.
I mean, it is all in the family because Tara's mom is here as well. And she is 90 years young, watching her daughter coach once again in a Final Four. Snezik, oh, what a tough shot. She makes that. She'll be at the line.
I'll tell you, she's played with great pace. There's Mom, who was at the hotel crying, I might add. The stress was too great. And Tara said, hey, relax, Rita. We got you in this one. And Snezik apparently has him because this kid has been terrific at the point guard. My goodness gracious. Just a solid crossover, gets the shoulder by, draws the contact, and makes the basket. Relax, Rita. We got Snezik at the helm.
We were out doing a game earlier this season at Stanford, right after Tara had won the 1,000th game. And so Rita had flown out and had been out there in anticipation of that win. We talked to Tara after she finally did. I said, well, did your mom go home? And she said, yes, thank God. She finally left. We got the 1,000th win.
Kleine launching. Rebounded away by Smith. Gives Stanford more size at 6'3". And the Cardinals opened up a little 5-point lead. They look like they're settling in now offensively.
Well, they certainly do, and the missed shots are starting to accumulate for South Carolina. What's unique about the Final Four? In every round you advance, the pressure goes up. Those open jump shots feel a little bit weightier than they do maybe in November and December.
Too strong on that effort by McCall. Davis will hang on to it. Kayla Davis so fascinating because she's become a different kind of offensive player since Coach went down with the injury. She's so free to shoot the ball all over the floor, and everybody in America knows she can just flat shoot it, but her numbers have been off the charts. So far, she's been pretty quiet. On the attack now with the scoop. That won't fall. Wilson denied. Great defense on the interior by Smith. McPhee. The return won't drop. McCall. That'll roll in. And Russell loves it.
Well, opportunistic, right? Stanford will push the pace when given an opportunity, but they're going to run hard, and then they're going to play smart.
McCall has 10. Kleine really battling underneath. She'll draw the foul with 6:11 to go before halftime here in our first national semifinal. So the foul will go against Smith as she picks up number 2.
This is the first chance right here for points on the board in the second quarter for South Carolina.
Kleine just a 57% foul shooter on what is a good foul shooting team. Coming up at 9:30 on ESPN, the UConn Huskies will play in their 10th straight Final Four against Mississippi State as they look for a 5th consecutive NCAA title. So Smith heading to the bench. A sophomore from Australia. His parents have made it here. All the way from Melbourne. Second one won't go, but it's Wilson with another rebound. She has 4. Kleine back for Gray. Gray averaging 13. The kick for Kleine. It barely nicked the iron.
Did you see how short the closeout was? My goodness.
McPhee mishandled that, but a great job by Cuevas Moore to interrupt it. He got back so fast on the defensive end, but a wild shot there. 21-15 Stanford. Here's Samuelson. We have not called her name very much for a 49% three-point shooter. Johnson takes the bump and a travel there.
It's a very good call. Got a little happy feet. Yeah, McPhee going to go out. And one of the things, you just touched on this, it's been quiet for Samuelson. Remember, they're looking opposite long, athletic, aggressive defenders who are going to try to make sure on any catch that they are in position to challenge the jump shot. And right now, they're not even getting a lot of looks.
And Carr, you would think they're going to need him by the end of the night. You're going to need those threes.
Yeah, I mean, they're face guarding Carly Samuelson, and she's not a player that against that athleticism is going to be able to create her own or even sometimes catch the basketball. So that's a good call on Kleine to travel there. So that is the challenge for Carly Samuelson and Stanford. Find a way to get some clean looks.
Challenge right now for the Gamecocks is to make a shot. They've missed 10 straight. It's been some year in South Carolina, the state. Coastal Carolina winning the national championship. College World Series. Dustin Johnson's from Columbia. First major at the U.S. Open. Now, I know South Carolina fans will not like this video, but Clemson was won it all in football in South Carolina. The men's basketball team of Frank Martin, their first NCAA Final Four appearance this year. What an amazing run they have had. Great year to be from South Carolina.
Fantastic year. Had a chance to cover the South Carolina men in the SEC, and you're getting tweets from Lil Wayne. You're Dawn Staley and the South Carolina Gamecocks. That's pretty nice. Darius Rucker. I mean, a lot of love around South Carolina right now.
Right, they've earned it.
Sindarius Thornwell throwing down a little smack talk prior to tomorrow night's national semifinal.
A foul and maybe an injury here. Samuelson is clutching at her right foot or ankle, and down on her back. With 4:38 to go, her dad, John, who has been traipsing across the country watching his daughters play for UConn and Stanford, the NCAA tournament, but right now a look of concern along with everybody else. One of the top players in this tournament. And Carly going down here. Take a look.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Right over the right foot of Cuevas Moore.
And she is literally going to be lifted off the floor by McCall and the Stanford trainer. The foul went on Cuevas Moore, her first.
And for South Carolina, Kayla Davis.
Well, you remember last year in the Final Four, her sister Katie Lou Samuelson with UConn on the very first play of the national semifinal broke her foot and never got a chance to play in the championship game, which UConn won in any event. Jeez, it continues to have an outstanding first half.
Well, this kid, since February 1st, has been so good in her assist-to-turnover ratio, almost 3-to-1. But I like the aggressive mindset to score it, and especially now with Carly, one of your knockdown shooters going out, you're going to need some productivity.
Well, it's a giant loss for the Cardinal as well as they're playing right now. Davis can't hit it. Wilson with another rebound to her left. Undeniable. I mean, there's no success in stopping her down low like that.
Where would South Carolina be without their offensive rebounds? I mean, their offense has been anemic outside of those opportunities in the second chance.
Johnson back for Roberson. Another one of the Cardinal, not afraid to take a big shot. Johnson, difficult angle, knocks it down.
See, you've got to be so disciplined against a Stanford team that will change sides of the floor, that is going to get to their second, third, fourth level of their offense. They are taking this and executing beautifully. That time they took that shot with 6 seconds on the shot clock.
Cuevas Moore, fast shot. Johnson out hustling everybody for the rebound, and here comes Stanford. They finished second in the grueling Pac-12 and then won the conference tournament. McPhee with a leaner in tight. Wilson with another rebound. She has been outstanding on the glass with 8 of them. Threading her way in, Davis left it short, follows that, got it. Now let's bring in 2:54 to go here in the second quarter. Let's bring in Holly Rowe. And Holly, do you have an update right now on Carly Samuelson?
I do. As they were taking her to the tunnel, these gentlemen with a stretcher came out as if to try to help her get off because she wasn't putting weight on that ankle. She waved them off and said, no, I don't need it. She has walked on her own power back through that tunnel. They've taken her to the locker room. She was able to take her shoe off, kind of get some pressure on that. So she is putting pressure on the right ankle. I'll keep you posted.
Well, that's the best possible news at this point. We'll see how far it goes.
Yeah, you'll see. I mean, you're just going to have to play it by ear and see the amount of pain, and we'll be able to put pressure and push off of that.
Gray with a miss. On the run into the corner, McPhee, and out it goes. And Kara, that looked nasty. Can you bounce back that quickly?
I mean, it depends. You know, it depends on the severity of it. But walking on it with just a little pressure is a lot different than trying to explode here on the offensive end or the defensive end. So maybe it feels okay when you're walking back there and trying to test it out, but trying to defend, trying to get open, trying to run off screens, that's a totally different ballgame.
27-19 Stanford here.
To me, the loss, if you were to lose Carly Samuelson, every player on this roster has said the highest basketball IQ on our team is Carly Samuelson. There's no question they think she's going to be a head coach. She understands everything. If a player on their team has a question, that's who they go to. So you miss a little bit of the scout defense you're trying to employ if you're Stanford. Now somebody's got to come in and be as sharp on that at that end of the floor.
Yeah, I think you look at it too, and they were face guarding her, and I think Sneezik and other guards and other players were the beneficiaries of the spacing provided by that. So now if you don't have to be as attached on the weak side to a shooter like Samuelson, then do you have a little less spacing as an offense for Stanford moving forward?
As well as Stanford has played here in the first half, and they have a fairly comfortable lead down the stretch of the second quarter. They had lost 13 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and the #1 3-point shooter in the country. Career 45%, and she's shooting over 50% from 3 in her last 38 games. It's a giant weapon for Stanford. And right now, they do not have it available. Kleine. Here's Davis shredding 2 defenders in a traveling violation. Even though she made the shot, very acrobatic shot, but no good there. And coming up, the Northwestern Mutual halftime report. Maria, Rebecca, and Andy. The first half breakdown coming your way. And impersonating Gino. I know that everybody's All-American's got to have one.
5, oh, no question. She's probably got 5 of them.
She on the baseline. That's a pretty play. Brittany McPhee with a basket, the 6-foot junior. And the lead up to 10. That's the biggest lead of the night for Stanford. On the entry, the double team knocked right out of Wilson's hand. They've got a 3-on-2, and the pass off Roberson.
How aggressive was that double team?
So aggressive.
I mean, that was phenomenal by Kaylee Johnson to come there. It is hard to trap size.
At 6'5",
yep.
when she puts the ball over her head, I'm amazed. And you know what, Carol? We were talking about the patience that Asia needed to have. Early in the game, she had the patience. She made the nice dump-down pass. In that instance, boy, she just attacked like it didn't matter what the defense was going to give her.
Johnson again interrupted it, then tears it away as she picks off that pass. 29-19. Now Stanford trying to put a bit of a hammer down right before halftime.
I said at the start, Dave, Tara is one of the great game planners in women's college basketball, and everything that she is doing right now has worked to perfection.
Second effort for Johnson. So now they can really wait this out. About a 6-second split between the game and shot clock here for Stanford. Collision there and a traveling violation. So back over to the Gamecocks. It goes 7 turnovers for Stanford.
McPhee loves to do this off the dribble handoff, turn the corner, and absolutely just shuffles her feet there. But if you're South Carolina, get one good possession. Get one good offensive possession going into the half.
Now the Cardinal has lost a big-time scorer, but Marta Snezic has really shown up. The 5'8" sophomore guard, Kleine, and a whistle with 4.3 seconds to go. Snezic has been the star for Stanford along with Erica McCall, the senior. Snezic picks up number 2 there. In this quarter, Stanford has outscored South Carolina to this point 17-5. Kleine at the line. Kleine from New Jersey, very athletic guard. Played solid minutes in a regional final win over Florida State and pulled down 7 rebounds.
Well, you wonder do you bring back Cuevas more because defensively there's such quickness. She can get up and pressure the ball because you don't want to let Stanford come up unimpeded. You want to turn the direction of that dribbler.
She is back on the floor. Harris sitting. 1 of 2 for Kleine. Chance to heave it up in midcourt. That one struck one of our cameras up high. And that's the end of the first half. Stanford with a 29-20 lead over South Carolina. See how much more we can find out about Carly Samuelson and that nasty ankle injury. McPhee launching that one, hoping for a prayer here. And we got to send a tech up there to get back to work. Caught a piece of our camera. Let's go to Holly.
Well, Coach, how severe do you know Carly Samuelson?
I don't know anything. You know, I thought other people came in. Bree came in and did a good job, and we hope that Carly's okay. Bree Taper. But, you know, we need other people to step up, and we need to take care of the basketball.
I thought Marta Snezic entering this game has really changed it for you. What is it that she's doing that you love?
She's a point guard, and she really sees the floor well. She had some great passes, finish. We're working really hard out there.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
Well, she has to love the way they're playing right now. The Cardinal on top by 9 at the break as we go to Maria Taylor, Rebecca Lobo, and Andy Landers on the set for halftime, guys. Welcome back to Dallas in the NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One. Our first national semifinal. And at halftime, Stanford has the lead by 9. Mississippi State coming in, getting ready to try and take down, with their great point guard, Morgan Williams, the UConn Huskies. And John Samuelson, of course, the father of Stanford's Carly, and UConn's Katie Lou, knows how to dress for the Final Four. Now, his daughter is going to tough it out after a nasty, what looked like an ankle sprain. She is ready to start the second half. But how about South Carolina, guys? Because only 20 points, a season low for a half.
When you look at South Carolina, Asia Wilson, we talked about it. She was being contained on the offensive end of the floor. Where's Kayla Davis? Where's Alicia Gray? What we've seen, the wide open style for South Carolina, the offensive end, the NCAA tournament, those two, to me, as juniors, got to get going.
On the other side, schematically, nothing changes defensively for Stanford, and you hope that Ms. Snezic continues to play to the level she played in the first half, because the kid was absolutely brilliant. 4 assists, 8 points. So what do? You run a little pick and roll. Can you get the corner turned? Yes, you can. The little hesitation dribble and the drop back pass make it easy on your teammates. How about the vision coming up the floor? There's shooters on 2 sides, and your post is ready to make a dive cut to the lane, but she stays spread out. And Snezic goes right to the rack. Give me a little fist pump because you played ball in the first half.
She was outstanding coming off the bench. South Carolina scored only 6 points in the second quarter. So you know they're going to turn to Asia Wilson in a big way here in the second half. They do not have Elena Coates, who could not perform in the tournament. Gray with the first effort on the spin and knocks it in.
That's what you need, is attack and some production from Alicia Gray and Kayla Davis, who have been so good for you on the offensive end in the NCAA tournament.
Holly talked with Asia Wilson right before the start of the second half.
Asia, I know you were mentally prepared to be double-teamed tonight, but it's been oppressive. Sometimes 3 black jerseys around you. How can you assert your will out there?
I mean, I'm just gonna let the game come to me. Honestly, it's gonna open up soon. I mean, it's tough, of course, when we're looking for your teammates and you have people around you. But I mean, I'm really not gonna get stressed and frustrated over it. It's gonna open up soon for me.
What did Coach say in the locker room to try to instill some confidence in your guards to help you by hitting shots?
The same thing I just said. You know, we just gotta be patient. We gotta own our possessions and play possessions like it's our last. We just gotta go out here with just a lot of desire and will to just get shots up and just execute our game plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now McCall with a great follow there to keep it alive for Stanford, and another effort for the Cardinal. Just underway here in the 3rd quarter of our first national semifinal, and it will stay on this end. And Stanford goes right to the bench and brings Roberson, a 5'7" junior, on, and Samuelson going to the bench. So is that an indication she tested it? And it's not feeling very good.
Yeah, I mean, you look at her wincing. She's standing up. She doesn't want to sit down on the bench, so she's standing up behind the empty seat on the bench where she would be sitting. And it looks like she's just flexing her ankle there, trying to keep it loose. That's one of the hardest things when you come back mid-game from an ankle injury, is keeping that thing from tightening up.
Traveling violation. Stanford will kick it over to the Gamecocks.
Well, what you wonder about is, can she guard, right? So you've got to slide your feet. Sometimes you've got to backpedal, and it just doesn't look like there's certitude or strength in that ankle. So be very interesting moving forward to see her again.
All the guts in the world. We've seen it with Katie Lou, too. We've seen her getting sick and then coming back and hitting like 6 straight threes. Davis off the fake, got it up there. She continues to be cold. She was 2 for 8 at halftime. Wilson always there on the spot, though.
It's got to be frustrating to Tara, because she talked in the 1st quarter to Holly Rowe about keeping them off the offensive glass. But it's just the brilliance of Asia Wilson. She's got great timing, great vertical. She's really long.
Pass slithered in from a call. Yes.
I mean, Stanford's first shot defense has been as good as I've seen it all season long. It's been their inability to keep South Carolina off the offensive glass. If they just rebound, they're up 15 or 16 points right now.
Another touch for the 6'5" junior from Hopkins, South Carolina, knocked out of her hand.
Well, just a hard post-to-post double. And if you're Asia, you've got to slow down a little bit. Be a little bit more patient. Read the defense.
Collision and a travel. Let's go to Holly.
Well, before this half started, I saw the coaching staff go up to Carly Samuelson and get an honest evaluation of this ankle. I heard her say to the coaches, "Let me try." She's desperate to be on the floor. But when she came to the sideline just now, she asked the athletic trainer, "Hey, how can I keep this loose?" They're letting her do these calf raises over here, kind of keep that muscle loose. And she is angsting to get back in this game. It's coming off of her in waves. She wants to help her team.
Open shooter is Harris, and knocks it in with the help of a friendly rim. She has 5.
One of the things it looks like South Carolina has decided to do is, with Gray and with Davis, who can both slash, even though Stanford is sagging, Dave, they're putting it on the deck and trying to create shots on the drive.
Smith with a tough catch. She's a really fine athlete. 4 points for Atlanta Smith. She says her parents made it from Melbourne, Australia. It's only about 17 or 18 hours of flying. Again, not free. They're getting very physical with Asia Wilson. Smith again, yes. How about Wilson? Right there to recover.
They're seeking out a matchup, right? Alicia Gray is playing the 4 spot, as we noted, because of the absence of coach, which means Smith has size on her. And so they recognize that, and they're like, let's get it down to the box.
McPhee lost it. Smith went down on the deck. Recovered by Harris. She kept it alive.
Well, McPhee struggling with turnovers.
Davis tried the window and took the hit. 6:14 to go here in the 3rd. Foul will go on McPhee, and that'll be Brittany McPhee's first. So Davis to shoot. Very good at the line. The transfer from Georgia Tech makes 80%. And has been red hot in this tournament. For the SEC tournament, she caught fire. Since then, she's averaging 18 points and hitting 50% from 3.
And I think what we saw right there, and granted that was off of a turnover, but off of misses. If I'm South Carolina, keep doing that. Push it. Do not be content to play the last 16 minutes of this game against Stanford's half-court defense.
So South Carolina pulling to within 5. They were down 9 at halftime.
And South Carolina switches into a zone on this possession, and Asia twice on the pipes.
Now the school record holder for block shots in a career. And she has 3 so far tonight, along with 12 rebounds and 6 points. Roberson, only about 33% beyond the 3, so if you're looking for another weapon beyond that line with Samuelson out, here's McCall to let fly and well short. Gamecocks trying to close that gap a little bit more. As that one is poked out of play, 5:36 to go in the third. UConn looking on. And what's going through the mind of Katie Lou right now? She just saw her sister go down. She's obviously distraught, in pain with that nasty ankle injury. We'll see if she has any hope of returning.
She's familiar with the feeling.
That's pretty amazing when you think about that. Old Samuelson's back-to-back years in the Final Four, and a foul here. 33-28. Very, very close. They've been dreaming of playing against each other. Smith picks up her 3rd foul there. 5:27 to go, still to come. UConn and Mississippi State. As we're in the third.
In for Stanford, Nadia Finkel. In for South Carolina.
So Smith will go to the bench. Nadia Finkel, a 6'3" freshman out of Florida, getting her first minutes for the Cardinals. And Wilson on the bench right now for South Carolina, at least for a moment. They've pulled to within 3. McCall fires around and out. Another Gamecock rebound. They are crashing the glass here in the second half. Harris, denied by McCall. Look at the passion there after swatting that shot away.
This is a very emotional player and just wants to play with great passion. My goodness gracious. She sends that. That could have been in the 5th row had it not hit the stanchion.
Her sister in the WNBA as well. Her dad's a coach. Basketball so much in the family. Certainly is with the Davis family, but that one is short. And here come the Cardinals. Roberson being harassed there by Cuevas Moore with her quick hands. McPhee and a foul on the play with 4:49 to go in the third.
South Carolina getting a little closer, Dave. Being aggressive on the drive. This time, though, Ty Harris, the freshman, says, Erica McCall on fire.
It's been a frustrating evening for South Carolina star Asia Wilson because of the attention being paid. Check out this physicality by Stanford. This double team, how aggressive they are. If you want to take away a great player, you can't just occupy the space on the interior. You've got to own the space in the interior defensively. That's exactly what Stanford is doing, forcing her to make quick decisions. We see the frustration by Asia Wilson's parents there. And then on the box out, it doesn't just happen when she has the basketball. It happens before she gets it. That was a tough finish for Asia Wilson, but it signifies what an evening it's been for her. Tough every time down the floor.
Ollie, it has been rough on her.
Well, Stanford has a saying in their football program called intellectual brutality. David Shaw, the football coach, actually came and gave them a send-off on the bus. I have a feeling that he passed along a little of that intellectual brutality because we're seeing some of it from Stanford tonight. They're making it tough.
Sounds like my term papers, actually, back in college. Difficult shot on the baseline. McPhee's won't fall. And really, the Gamecocks have closed the gap on the glass here. 33-30, a chance to tie it on this possession. They were down 9 at the break. Wilson with 13 points and actually 13 rebounds and 6 points. On the leaner, up and in for 2 by Gray.
And all they're doing is they've decided we're not going to just concede or just take these jump shots. We're going to use the bounce to get into maybe a little bit closer, get shooting on the move, try to build our rhythm that way. And they look better, South Carolina.
The defense has been tighter.
You know, Stanford controlled the tempo. I think they've been the more physical team, but it's a one-point game. It's a one-point game. South Carolina has yet to hit their stride.
Stanford will go to the bench and bring on Smith. The Gray down there on the block. Stanford with only 4 points in the third quarter. And Wilson returns. And Gray hits the bench for the Gamecocks.
So they're a little bit bigger here. Gray got the block on that last possession before heading out. But Herbert, Harrigan, the freshman forward, and Wilson up front.
Down low, Smith slams on the brakes. Short, though. And now South Carolina can grab the lead. Cuevas Moore. Wilson. Back out for the guard. A long one. Got it from three-point land. And the Gamecocks surge into the lead. 35-33.
That is exactly the patience we've been looking for from A'ja Wilson. I love that play because she turned and looked and could have shot over two defenders' hands, but she paused, spun, and found Cuevas Moore in the corner for an open three. Excellent play by Wilson.
A 9-0 run for South Carolina. Now we'll see how the Cardinal reacts. McPhee, that didn't touch anything. McCall picks it off. McPhee with another one. She can't buy a basket.
She's just looked out of sorts for much of the night, turning it over at a high rate, missing shots, traveling on drives.
And again, they have not been able to count on Samuelson because of the bad ankle. And her ability to open up a game with those threes. And again, a miss by McPhee. Here's McCall. Boy, they can't get anything to fall. Great defense again by the Gamecocks. On the kick. How about that one? Finally for two with a terrific catch.
So now you get your defense going. You're playing off misses. You're out in transition and space. And Tara going to use a timeout wisely.
That is Dak Prescott in the house and loving it. 37-33 South Carolina. Well, we have just witnessed here in our first national semifinal a 13-point turnaround by South Carolina from down 9 at halftime. They've done it on the glass. A'ja Wilson already with 15 rebounds.
Well, this is the patience you want. She's got three bodies around her, so she kicks to the corner. That was her third assist. And Condi's like, come on, man, we got to play better defense than that. That looked like Dave O'Brien defense. I'm disgusted with it.
On a good day. 2:36 to go here in the third. And South Carolina has totally flipped things. They're outscored in the second 17-6. They have done the outscoring 17-4 in the third. Music with a nice save there. Samuelson still on the floor here for the Cardinals. So is Smith. Little contact, no. They are missing shots they would typically make in a foul.
Well, they have mustered all of 4 points here in the third quarter. As anemic as South Carolina was, Kara, in the second, it's turned on Stanford now. They are struggling to score.
That is A'ja Wilson's 16th rebound. Oh, we still have 12 minutes left in this game. I mean, she has completely owned the boards. And we showed you packages with how physical Stanford is being. For her to be able to persevere through that physicality and still dominate the glass. Wow, what a player.
Three-time SEC Player of the Year, National Player of the Year candidate. And wants a crack at a national championship on Sunday night. Shot clock at 7. Here's Kleine up top. Cuevas Moore to penetrate, flips it up and banks it in. But she's making a difference. And a timeout as Wilson is bent over a bit. She took a knock. And she's taken a lot of them tonight and really fought her way through them. And towel up to her head. And A'ja Wilson has to leave the floor. An injury concern here suddenly for the Gamecocks. And her mom and dad. And again, Roscoe and Ava know how physical it has been around their daughter. She has responded in an all-American style. Samuelson just 0 for 2 shooting it. Sneesic down to 9 to get off a shot for Stanford. Now to 5. Working on Cuevas more. Crossover there, but can't hit it. Here come the Gamecocks. Stanford scoreless over the last 5 minutes of play. Davis, a little short. Been a cold night for her. She scrambled in and committed the foul. Now back to Asia Wilson a moment ago on the bench right now. And reaching for that right eye.
One of the things that's problematic for Stanford right now is, first of all, McPhee needs time and space to get her jump shot off. The athleticism defensively as they get a little post up, so a wise move, because she needs time and space, and the athleticism and speed and length of South Carolina on the other side as you get an offensive foul. It's problematic for both Carly and for Brittany McPhee, and so this is why they're having such problems on the offensive end. And, well, she looks like she's in some pain.
Rivesing 6 points, 16 rebounds. The rest of the team has 16. South Carolina on top 39-35, getting ready to head to the fourth quarter of our first national semifinal. That's a pretty play down low by Smith.
Same play. 2 times in a row. First time is McPhee to take advantage of the size. Asia Wilson not in the game. Now it's Smith. So 2 good play calls there by Tara Vanderveer to get some points on the board in this third quarter.
Shot clock is off. Davis trying to penetrate. Swung back out high for Kleine. 7 seconds left in the third quarter. Harris, too strong. Picked up and in by Herbert Harrigan. Right on the spot for a big bucket there. And that's the end of the third with South Carolina surging into the lead, 41-37.
A spot in the national championship game. It's not for the meek. It's not for the mild. You got to come with it with all the strength, all the athleticism, all the physicality it takes to try and be a national championship. Both teams are bringing it.
The 2017 women's Well, welcome back here with South Carolina coach Dawn Staley. And Dawn, you really changed things defensively, smothering Stanford in that last quarter. What was it that allowed you to do that?
The speed of the game. We needed to pick the pace up. You know, the pace of the game was, with Stanford's in the first half. So, our thing is we got to play fast. We got to make them make decisions under duress, and that plays in our hands.
You also went back to a little bigger lineup at times with Herbert Harrigan in there with Asia Wilson. How has that helped you?
It helped us a great deal, when we can match up a little bit better because they're posting up our little guards when we have our small lineup in. And our little freshman Kiki's doing a great job for us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly.
Very entertaining. The chess match between these two Hall of Famers, Dawn Staley and Tara Vanderveer. You look at the flip in that third, and a lot of that had to do with some of the moves that Dawn made. 21-8, outscoring Stanford in the third quarter.
Their relationship goes back a long ways. Tara Vanderveer, coach of the 1996 Olympic team. Dawn Staley was a point guard on that team. Remember, that team was together for an entire year. And Dawn credits Tara Vanderveer with a lot of the lessons she learned on how to be a head coach in terms of preparation and how to get your team ready to play.
And what's pretty cool, as Dawn has always said, it is the likes of Tara, Pat Summitt, Andy Lander, some of the coaches that she saw coming up. And when she was finally challenged by a former AD at Temple, are you a leader or not? And, playing to her pride, of which we know she has got a tremendous amount. And congratulations to her, the United States Olympic team, head coach.
One of the great players all time, of course. That's going to be a travel on Sneesic. She'll pick up her 11th turnover, or their 11th turnover as a team. Underway here in the fourth quarter, 41-37. So it's been a quiet second half for Sneesic. Fourth quarter of our first national semifinal. Wilson back in, followed by Kleine there. She thought about shooting it. Samuelson also staying in the game for Stanford. So a couple of players a little bit nicked up beginning the fourth quarter. Shot clock down to 4, and that one a misfire. Right back up and in. by Gray.
You know, Stanford's been on the road for about a month, basically. Their last Pac-12 game was a road game. We talked about the significance of their travel in the NCAA tournament, and tell you what, they are unable at this point to keep South Carolina off the offensive glass, and it feels like they've been on the defensive end of the floor forever.
Shot clock at 7. McCall barely nicking the iron. The Gamecocks have the momentum. They've had it all half. Davis with an open shot. Well, that's one that she could really hit in her sleep.
Well, she's really struggling. We've seen this all season with her. Very up and down.
McCall, talk about up and down. Beat everybody again.
There we go. And we'll see if that basket can get Stanford going. But you know what's being emphasized in the huddles. Box out. And for a team that prides itself on their discipline and their execution, to not have made that correction to this point in the game, to me, is baffling.
Davis, by the way, 2 out of 14 shooting. She couldn't miss coming into this one the last several NCAA tournament games. Wilson again. That's a shot she likes. That won't drop. Stanford looking to get a little bit closer. 43-39 in the fourth. Game 2, Mississippi State trying to do the seemingly impossible and upset UConn. That will be game number 2, about a half hour or so after game 1 comes to an end. Again, the shot clock a factor for the Cardinal. At 4. Now down to 2. Smith bottled up. That's a shot clock violation. Sunday at 5 Eastern on ESPN, and watch ESPN. Join us for the NCAA Women's Championship Special, presented by Capital One, followed by the national title game. And visit NCAA.com. It's the home for all 90 NCAA championships. Whistle off the ball on the baseline with 7:23 to go.
I think they got Erica McCall, and she is being incredibly physical with Asia Wilson. And anytime they're near the box, she is being so physical. So it'll be interesting to see what the whistle is here, Dave, in the final 7:23.
And that was on McCall. That was only her first foul. Another collision. Wilson goes down, and a foul on her. And she went diving into the fray, her first. Don Staley not happy with that call from Joe Vasili, but it goes against the Gamecocks in a 4-point game. Well, you wonder if Samuelson is going to have any impact on this game with that ankle. She has yet to score a single point. McPhee calling out a play. Again, the shot clock at 5. Backdoor cut. And a whistle. As McPhee got hit, let's bring in Holly.
Well, this has been an ongoing conversation on the bench. In fact, Taurus Vanderveer said to Carly Samuelson, look, if you can't move, I've got to take you out. But Carly keeps trying to continue to prove that she can move. She wants to be on the floor so desperately. They did tell Dejanay Carrington to get ready. Get ready if you have to come in, which we're going to see a substitution right here for Carlson, or Samuelson.
Well, here's the injury again in that first half as she went spinning to the floor and grimacing in agony. As McPhee connects at the line, 3-point game. She has 8.
Well, this is pretty much what we expected. We thought this would be a close game, 2 points either direction. Obviously, it's not been an offensive masterpiece.
I think the effort is certainly worthy of a national semifinal. Clean block shot by Smith, right back up and in. Asia Wilson, not a big scoring game. She has been amazing on the glass with 17 rebounds. The lead holding up for the Gamecocks here. There's McCall again with a misfire. Stanford having a devil of a time pulling offense out of people. They had a 9-point lead at halftime. Over the top. Off the window, it'll drop in for Gray with that nice touch. And suddenly, it's the biggest lead tonight for South Carolina.
Well, that's a different way to do a high-low. No Elena Coast doesn't mean you can't run it.
Carrington is going to come in the game. Long one. That'll swish in by Roberson as she buries a three. Boy, did they need that.
Well, that's a big-time shot. I mean, their offense has been on virtual life support. Let's see if they take advantage of the size again. Roberson is guarding Davis or Gray. She's on Gray right now. That's where you have the size advantage.
47-43, South Carolina. Wilson, all that traffic, and draws more contact with 5:07 to go. Now Stanford in the tournament and all season long, they have been the cardiac Stanford Cardinal for sure. They've done it in this tournament a big way. 16 down in the Elite Eight to Notre Dame, for example.
One of the best games of the season was that win at Washington, down by 18, and were able to storm back and just make enough plays to win.
They were also 13 back, Kara, against Oregon State, Pac-12 tournament. Came back and won that game. Another one for Wilson. Too strong this time. And a tie-up on the play.
See, Gray has got the knack of making so many small little contributions to the team, right? The post up on the last play in the high-low situation, just sticking her nose in on a rebound and causing a jump ball and getting her team a possession. Just love what that kid does to contribute to winning.
Playing with those 6 stitches above the eye. Wilson again, tiptoeing in. Well, she has played like an All-American here tonight. When they have desperately needed her, Asia Wilson has shown up huge.
She certainly has. And she has taken Stanford's best shot. 1 defender, 2 defenders, 3 defenders, and has powered through their physicality, persevered, and come out the other side. What a performance it's been for her on the glass.
Well, I would not have guessed that South Carolina would have a chance to go to the national championship without coach, but they're closing in on it. Laid up and in by Carrington, just off the bench with a nice pick.
Well, you like the fact that she's trying to affect the game with her defensive abilities. Can't be shy at this point. There is a berth in the national championship at stake. Her coaching staff prepared her.
5-point game, Gray again, and made it. Took the hit on the baseline. What a shot, the shot of the night. And she's made a few. 52-45 Gamecocks. Let's take a look at our Capital One Cup impact performance.
Well, Alicia Gray, once Elena Coates went out with the injury, had to move to the power forward, but she has always been on time when big plays are necessary, and she's got a versatile offensive game. The 3-ball is good. She can rebound to a high degree. And yes, she's 5 for 5 in the second half. Can she take contact and score it? Yes, ma'am. She and Asia Wilson are pretty good friends. And they exchange a nice moment, a game-high 17 for Alicia Gray.
On the topic of nice moments, a wonderful ovation for the great Robin Roberts of Good Morning America. Of course, a 2016 Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame inductee. Caught her by surprise. She loved it, though. Wonderful to see her doing so well. And Gray with that 3-point play. So far, the play of the Final Four. To make that shot, took the hit. She has 18. And the lead goes up to 53-45 South Carolina. Music into the wing here for McPhee. And once again, it's Wilson trying to save it, but can't. But she's everywhere.
She has been so active, and you get the sense that someone on Stanford's going to have to make a 3-point shot. Somebody's going to have to get enough real estate beyond that 3-point line and knock one down for them to come back. And you see Carly Samuelson, she's made 41% of the team's 3-point shots this season, the #1 3-point shooter in the country at 49%.
And frankly, Kara, again, because it takes so much time and space for McPhee, I don't think she can get it off against this team.
Davis going around the back, threw it away. She's had a very tough night, but South Carolina has overcome it because Asia Wilson's been Asia Wilson, and then some. So the last 3:40 of the 4th quarter in a low-scoring affair in South Carolina, coming from 9 down at half, seemingly has control of the game. Still plenty of time. 7 to shoot. McCall with a long-range shot. No. And another foul here. Harris hit the deck hard for South Carolina. And That foul will go against Carrington of Stanford.
Well, just tremendous discipline by Ty Harris. Actually, she just gets run over by Carrington. I thought she had gone and found a body.
Roberson back on. Sneezik had an exceptional first half, has not been able to follow that in the second half, but the Samuelson miss cannot be underestimated for Stanford. She's going to come back on and try again. Samuelson has come to the scorer's table. 9 on the shot clock. Kleine in the corner. Gray has been the star, along with Wilson. Rebounded away by the Cardinal. They need a run desperate right now. Smith in the paint. Hooks it up. Yes. Elena Smith now with 8 and 11 rebounds to make it 53-47.
What's plagued you all game long, if you're Stanford, is giving South Carolina second chance opportunities. Cannot allow that here.
Kleine tiptoes in. That won't fall in. A break here for the Cardinal.
You got numbers, attack.
Yeah, why are you pressing up if you're South Carolina?
Time beginning to become a factor now. Long range and buried by Smith.
Just a one-possession game. Back-to-back buckets by Smith.
Well, they've only made 3 from three-point land. That is way low for the Cardinals. But that one pulls them to within 3 points. Wilson setting a high screen. Shot clock to 1. Gray high off the window. Wilson right back up. And a whistle on the play.
How about the athleticism of A'ja Wilson? I mean, Dave, she really does not have inside position. She just jumps over the top, times it perfectly, and without fouling, able to get yet another offensive rebound.
Smith just picked up number 4 to put A'ja Wilson to the line. She's a 75% foul shooter. With 1:35 remaining in our first national semifinal. And the men's Final Four begins Saturday at 6 o'clock Eastern. The South Carolina men taking on Gonzaga. A spot in the national championship game.
So I think now you look, if you're Tara Vanderveer, with the clock being down, to do some offensive defensive substitutions now. So Carly Samuelson in the game for Carrington, the freshman, on the offensive end. But if you can, I think you got to look to get her out on the defensive end.
Stanford with the ball. Down by 4. McCall went in strong and simply lost it.
Good challenge by A'ja Wilson. And really good discipline by the officials. Is there a little bit of contact? Yes. Worthy of a whistle? Absolutely not. That takes patience with the whistle in your mouth. Really good no call.
Harris to run some clock, coming up on 1 minute to go. South Carolina trying to play their way into the national championship game.
1 minute to play in the game, 1 minute to play.
With 5 on a shot clock, Harris banks it in. Not even a hint of a grin there as she went off the window to make it a 6-point game. Time starting to run out on Stanford. Off the iron by McPhee. Cuevas Moore is wide open on the outlet. Timeout, Stanford. This has been some second half for South Carolina. Now with an 8-point lead with 41 seconds to go.
Stanford just unable to make shots, and South Carolina got to the pace that they wanted. And off the miss, the leak out, and Cuevas Moore with an easy opportunity, and the lead is now 8.
I thought the crucial possession was the one before that. And I talked about maybe getting Samuelson out on the defensive end of the floor. They keep her in. What does Dawn Staley do? Go high pick with Samuelson guarding the basketball and Ty Harris. and now she's having to guard around the ball screen. And now Ty Harris banked it in from the elbow. I'm not sure she planned on doing that.
Pretty sure she did.
But what I'm saying is that's a difficult thing to do with the ankle now, to slide laterally, navigate either above or below the ball string. I thought there was time maybe to get her out there and get Carrington onto the floor.
Yeah, do you use your timeout at some point to maybe make that change on the defensive end? Because you're right, it's just so physically challenging. But her inability, I know she's given it a great effort, but her inability to play to the level she's capable has certainly had an impact on what Stanford's been able to do on the offensive end.
Well, I don't know if anybody saw this coming, because South Carolina was not making shots in the first half. They scored 6 points in the second quarter. It was their lowest offensive output for a half all season long at 20 points. And now here they are 41 seconds away from playing for a national championship. They have outscored Stanford in the second half 38-21. A foul here with 40.3 to go. And we'll go against Wilson, her 4th. Check it, her 3rd foul. Stanford in need of a big shot. Samuelson is back on here. Maybe to heave one up from three-point land.
Well, this is taking an awful lot of time.
Here's Smith to fire. That one drops in. That's a 3. Now a 5-point game. She has 14. 29.4 seconds with another foul. And still time here for the Cardinal. They're not out of it yet.
Well, you're exactly right. Plenty of time. And one of the things that you can do in women's college basketball is advance the ball with a timeout. Stanford has 1 left. And you try and make this game as long as possible. Extend it. Force South Carolina to make some pressure free throws. And you've got a ton of three-point shooters on the floor if you're the Cardinals.
Harris very confident on the first one. She's a freshman.
I just love this kid's demeanor. She has been so poised, played beyond her years. I don't think it's easy being a freshman point guard for Dawn Staley.
But she buries the pair. It's back up to 7. Give her 9 points. Sneezik. Long range McPhee. Rebounded away by the Gamecocks. Harris will draw the foul. 17.9 to go.
Well, the exact right play by Stanford, right? The hard push, the cross-court pass for the 3. Just unable to make it.
South Carolina, so far, valiantly overcoming the loss of a big-time player in Elena Coates, one of the better post players in America, right before the start of this tournament. And here they are just seconds away from Sunday.
This is one of the great stories in terms of program building, really in women's college basketball history, the job that Dawn Staley has done with this South Carolina program, making them relevant and on their way to their first win in a Final Four tonight.
Smith fires. Not there. Another rebound for Wilson. How appropriate that is in the final seconds with 4.7 seconds to go.
19th rebound of the game for Asia Wilson. I think Dad is proud.
Now, of course, Mississippi State and UConn still to come. Our second semifinal tonight, as Wilson will be at the line. 19 rebounds. She's made some big assists as well. 12 points. Not a huge scoring night by her standards. You go back to February 13th. South Carolina took on UConn. And it was another Connecticut victory. UConn's 100th consecutive win.
The matchup would feel entirely different should UConn advance by Mississippi State because of the difference in the way South Carolina is playing right now.
Well, the Gamecocks are going to march to the national championship game as they knock off Stanford 62-53. And the great year of living in South Carolina continues. What a year for that state athletically. The Gamecocks. And now hoping that the Gamecock men will follow suit. But Don Staley, South Carolina Gamecocks are into the national championship game. What a second half they played.
I'll tell you, to be mentally tough enough to have such a struggle on the offensive end in the second quarter and respond, to change the tempo of this entire basketball game. And I loved what A'ja Wilson did, but Alicia Gray was dynamic. She contributed in so many ways, and you wonder, can Kayla Davis now in a national championship game, after struggling mightily in this semifinal, have a big, big game come Sunday night?
They will need her to.
No question.
I was definitely impressed with South Carolina's discipline and execution.
Let's go to Holly.
Well, A'ja, this was a very physical battle. How were you able to withstand that physical challenge that Stanford presented for you tonight?
I mean, like you said, it was very physical, but it was really nothing that I've never really seen before throughout the SEC conference. They put it down. They put it on you. So, I mean, I just let the game come to me, like I said, and the team was doing a great job defensively and on both ends of the ball.
Different people had to step up. Alicia Gray with an incredible night. What would you say about her performance?
Alicia Gray, she's one of the best guards that I've ever seen. She turns it on like a light, man. And she's just a great, just offensively and defensively. She brings it every night. She works really hard, and the game rewards her for that. And so it's just, she's a very special player.
You had to have some medical attention to your eye. What happened with your eye?
I don't know exactly. I just kind of got hit in it, and I couldn't really see, so I just knew that I had to get medical attention to it, and they helped me. They put some eye drops in. I'm feeling good.
All right, I know your men have a big game tomorrow night. What would you say to the men of the Gamecocks?
Man, go out there and get it, guys. You got it.
What's it like to now be in the championship game? Can you believe it?
I honestly cannot believe it, but I mean, it feels so good, but we're not done yet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's the story of a player who stayed home. She could have gone anywhere she wanted. She stayed local at South Carolina, out of Hopkins, South Carolina, and here she is tonight walking to a national championship appearance. And what a game she had with 19 rebounds. 62-53 the final. Coming up next, the NCAA studio update, followed by Mississippi State and UConn. Right now to Maria Taylor on the set.